Ben Levin. He's the guitarist for the critically acclaimed art rock band Bent Knee and is a prolific composer and songwriter in his own right. He runs an off-kilter music education YouTube channel as his alter ego, Fake Dr. Levin, and is just an all-around interesting human being with a vivid musical imagination. Here he is playing with my band Inside Outside a couple years ago, taking a really awesome guitar solo, and then, now he's taking a dance solo. This guy's awesome, and I've been wanting to sit down and talk with him about music forever. Hello, everybody. I'm Adam Neely, and I'm sitting here with my friend Ben Levin, who's a really amazing guitarist. All right, I got the music questions here. I can blow it up here for the camera. It's Berklee. It's Berklee right there. Anyway, yes. We went to Berklee together.
Filming the iPad. Here, we're taking the production to a new level.
This is really high production value, guys. Yeah. The question is, what are things that you got from Berklee, and what are some things that you had to learn in the real world, or would have wanted to learn at Berklee while you were there?
Yeah, well, good question. I got a lot out of Berklee. Everyone in Bentley met at Berklee. I fell in love at Berklee. I made great friends at Berklee. I think you could do that just about anywhere, but I just love who I met there. That was really great. And I learned a whole lot about a lot of different styles. So I was able to stop making music that was about me exploring styles and start making music that was about my own life and my experiences. Because I think a lot of my natural tendency as a wanker and a music nerd is to I practice a lot because it's really fun, and I used to have really low self-esteem, and the practicing really helped, and so my tendency would be, I love to practice, I want to make music that demonstrates what I practiced. And Berklee helped me get that out of my system, because you do that a lot. You do that for every semester. You have to perform stuff that you've practiced for people, and you get that buzz of preparing something really well and then failing and getting, doing it poorly, and then the next time doing it right, and all this great pressure, then victory, then failure, victory. You get that high over and over again, and in many different styles, because they offer so many styles. So you kind of cleanse yourself of that being your main motivation, and I got to step into myself a little bit and start saying, I'm really depressed. Why am I really depressed? And who else is depressed? And are we alone? And is it possible that part of the reason why we get so depressed is because we don't know enough about how other people feel, and maybe that's why there's so many love songs, because love's so hard for people, and so the love songs are this great empathy trip, and then start thinking about that. That's a whole different equation than I want to incorporate microtones into my playing.
Right. It's interesting that you got that from Berklee, because it took me graduating Berklee and leaving Berklee and leaving that atmosphere to really start coming into my own, beyond the shred and beyond all that stuff. And when I was at Berklee and even before that, and even now sometimes I kind of get turned off by the idea of this you gotta focus on your feelings, man, because it feels very wishy-washy, it feels very non-technical, it
sounds nice, but what do you do with it?
Yeah, exactly. What the hell, it's not tangible. It does involve a lot of soul searching, stuff for yourself, and you have to get to that point, go beyond all of the scales, all of the crazy awesome technical things, which are so fun, but at the same time they kind of are a mask on top of the real thing. But anyway.
They're it's if you bought a great paint set, the best paints and the best brushes, then you'd have what you need to make a great painting, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to yet. And so having all the scales and the theory is now you got the equipment. And it's not like you need the equipment before you can paint. You can use finger paints and Crayola and make some cool shit, but now that you got the best stuff too, you That's can awesome. Make a whole bunch of different kinds of things, and
you just have to have the thing. You have to have the thing to say, and that's a hard thing to study how to have the thing to say.
Well, to belabor my Crayola point, if you took oil paintings with the same attitude you have with Crayola crayons, you'd make some dope stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
That's what a lot of modern art is it's really nice materials, but with this childlike, playful, expressive exploding of emotion, and that's what you should, I think, aim to do with theory, and aim to do with whatever you learned in your lessons that was really maybe seemed cold at first. I learned the F-sharp harmonic minor scale, 3 notes per string, and now I shall play it from the root to the next root and now I shall play it in thirds. And it's like okay, so you played it and you got it in your fingers. Now play it as hard as you can, one note at a time, and scream the note and put on distortion and just see if that makes you think of something.
Man, well, one of the things, like, I know you're really into visual art. How... Oh, well, GoPro's gone. Okay.
That's okay.
All right. So, yeah, you have a very creative visual and a very creative musical mind. How do you, like, reconcile the two? Do you reconcile the two? Is there a connection, or... I don't know if you wanted to talk at all about that.
Thanks. I'm honored by the question. I think that we have a lot of kind of gut reactions to sounds and images. Sometimes those run into each other. So you might get a gut reaction. In your mind, you might see something like a balloon popping and a bunch of marbles flying out of it. And then you hear... You know, and like that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
like
definitely,
it's pretty clear how those two are connected.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
it's less obvious, but I think writing my journal, drawing shit.
Yeah, you do have those videos, like you draw the thing and that music. I find that really interesting.
Thanks.
That's really cool. Like just the relationships between two different mediums and how we have to express them differently. That's absolutely fascinating. The thing, I mean, on this channel, I talk all the time about the relationship of music to language, which is like, I guess, my thing now. It's not really my thing. It's
something you're good at describing.
It's Victor Wooten's thing. I got everything about music and
Gotta
language.
spread it. Spread it. His book's awesome. You know?
Yeah. Other questions. How do you think your composition and guitar playing has influenced your teaching, or has it influenced your teaching, and vice versa? Do you think that that sort of creative impulse on the guitar makes you more excited to teach, or like gives you things to teach? I know on like your YouTube channel, you like have all these series of like different things. Like one of my favorites was the Zelda mode series. They're really interesting things, like learning the modes through playing songs from Zelda on the guitar. Like the most recent one is beautiful chord progressions. Just a bunch of ways of creating cool chord progressions. Does your guitar playing and composition affect your teaching like that, or like how does it? I guess maybe is the question.
As a teacher, I'm still figuring out what works, especially on YouTube, because you get a lot of positive feedback, and then and that's nice and that's helpful, and then you get some negative feedback that's helpful, but I don't get that much negative feedback that's helpful. I get a lot of kind of vague negative feedback, or like you're out of tune, or it's like, you know, and so I'm still...
No, you're out of tune.
A comment. But yeah, like I'm trying... I just don't know exactly what I'm doing. And so I think with guitar playing, it's the same story. Like, I think it will be good to practice this certain way, and then after like a few months, like after a long time practicing a certain thing a certain way, I'll know if it was good or not. And so that's kind of how it is with my teaching. And luckily, when you make a crappy series on YouTube, it just kind of floats away. People don't watch it because it didn't help them. If it helps people at all, it was good. You know, whether it was helpful in the way you intended or not, you know, if someone's getting something out of it, at least the information is true. It's like stuff that I didn't just make up. You know, it's not like I'm lying about what's in a major 7 chord, but maybe the way I'm explaining it could be better, you know. But that's how it is to me in writing and practicing, is it's very iterative, and you have to commit to something for a long time before you know it's right. But the other point I wanted to make about that question, though, is that the most important thing is to allow for mistakes. So in my private teaching, I don't come down hard on people for their mistakes. I come down hard for refusing to try.
Oh yeah.
It bothers me when people say that they don't want to learn theory because it's cold, and I thought you put it really well when you said once that you don't know anyone who's regretted learning theory. Right. And there's this fear that if you learn something that's academic or could be taught on a chalkboard about something that's as nebulous as sound and music, that you're somehow destroying it. But rather what I think you're doing is you're admiring it from another angle. I get upset when people limit themselves, they cut themselves off from exploring a path without knowing what they don't know, without
Right.
knowing what they, not even trying. It's not a walled garden. It's not like only
definitely not.
certain people have access to theory.
No,
Like,
yeah.
it's not like this. It's not like this elitist thing. Even it
Right.
may have been at one point, but now like theory is just everywhere.
Right,
Like
of course.
almost any guitar channel that teaches theory can teach you something.
Right,
You know, there's
definitely.
like something good everywhere. The problem is, what order should I learn it in? That's
true.
You know, having private instruction is really crucial for like your own path working efficiently. But
Yeah, and you have the music theory from the ground up series, which I think is a really good one for
Thanks.
guitarists or bass players or whoever.
the point I want people to reach is to know what the questions they really want to ask are. If they're going to go to music school, I don't want them to drop out because it wasn't what they hoped. I want them to know like what kinds of subjects are touched on and like be prepared to like own their education and find what they're looking for.
Yeah, definitely. So one other thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about, and I don't know if this is going to be make the final cut scissors. So yeah, like I've mentioned this a bunch of times too, but like one of the things that like really inspired me to do this YouTube channel was this one conversation we had about 3 or 4 years ago at a place called The Record Company in Boston. It's like
Yeah.
a non-profit recording studio.
Yep, it's a very inexpensive but still very nice recording studio that's designed to help people in Boston who want to record be able to.
Yeah.
It's like regardless of budget limitations, you can still make a kick-ass album.
Yeah, and you guys have like I know recorded live there. And
Yeah.
did you record any of the Bentley stuff
Yeah,
there?
yeah. I mean, we record there no matter what album we're doing, like whether it's Bentley or my Ben Levin group stuff or Justice Cow or any of the bands I'm in.
Yeah, so like we had this conversation. I was playing with a friend, Elliot Klein's band.
Yay!
Yeah, Elliot. He shows up in a lot of my videos if you check them out. He was in the Big Band video. Anyway,
I love him.
Elliot's awesome. But yeah, so we were talking about like YouTube and what it means to be like a YouTube creator, I guess, and like also what it kind of means to be like a musician who's in the digital age. You kind of have to always be releasing content. Unlike previous generations, we as musicians are very content driven because in previous generations you would release an album and that was it. And you're good, and then you'd like do press for that and like blah blah blah. It's very different now. You have to constantly be showing your people what you're doing. And one of the questions that I have about this conversation where you're talking about your ideas for your channel, does your content suffer because you have to release it so often?
I think it's possible to meet the expectation. I mean, that it's really hard because I think a lot of YouTube videos are so slick and there's a team behind them, and some of us were lone rangers because we got no money. There are certain types of media that you can do this, get as much done every week and express something valuable. Education, I think, is something where if the information is expressed really well, then the flash is secondary to that. You know, all the glamour is secondary. So, you know, if you are a passionate teacher, you can really just set up a camera and talk and play, and the lesson is taught. You can do that every week. But what I don't think people should do every week is write and record and mix a song every single week. Now, making tons of music definitely does result in you making better music, absolutely, but the once a week schedule will, I think, cause you to actually start to repeat yourself. It starts to narrow, because there's not enough time to breathe and learn and take stuff in. It starts to narrow the scope of how you mix or what you mix, and it starts to be about the deadline. So, so I think that a lot of musicians are compromising maybe there.
We were just talking about Elliot earlier, and I know Elliot learned how to write songs that way. It was literally, he for an entire summer, he was like, we learned how to write a song. I'm gonna write a song every day, and then that's what he did. And then by the end of the summer, he could write songs.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a learning tool, it might be a really useful idea.
I mean, if you're masterful at mixing, like, and I mean masterful, like these guys who do this every day for like $3,000 a mix, you know, and they're like, they can mix really well, really fast, but they're not playing and writing the songs too,
Right.
you know, and I
It's
just,
the combination of everything together.
there's got to be a balance. It's like, yes, to a point, do a lot and you'll get better, and make a lot and don't be too careful and don't hold yourself too close to the chest. But on the other hand, don't just diarrhea when you have so much potential, you know, don't just diarrhea your music. I've been diarrhea boy. Like, I've spent years being diarrhea boy with, like 2 years after right after I graduated, I was just trying to make stuff fast and a lot because I thought I was a genius. So I just naturally just pull it out. But you know what? That's my worst shit. It's my worst shit. I don't know.
The deadline for these YouTube videos that I've set for myself and like, other people might set for their YouTube content creation, it's a little bit different. For example, the thing I would think about, like sort of, I guess a way of describing this, is if for every single one of these YouTube videos, it was a completely different format. And I had to do that every like week, that would, I'd kill myself. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it unless I had a team, 10 people behind me, which, hey, if anybody wants to pay for a team of 10 people behind me or get 10 interns, that'd be fantastic.
It'd be a good investment. It's kind of like the food pyramid for making stuff. It's like you can write in a journal every day and get better at writing, and you can maybe even write lyrics every day and get better at writing lyrics, and maybe you can make great lyrics every day. But then, okay, maybe you'll make great melodies for those lyrics every day, but it starts to get narrower and narrower. Can you also make a great arrangement every day? Can you also make a great recording every day? Yeah. And it just gets more and more narrow. So there are things you should do every day. You should write every day, totally. But like having a format to your YouTube videos makes it so that you can start to see which parts of the video itself take the most time and spread those things out. Of course. And which parts of the video can you do quickly. Like I imagine you can write a script pretty fast because this is stuff that you do some research. Well, no. The way I write scripts is I write it on the PATH train and on the subway. Like I got I'm like furiously writing. Nice rectangle. Got a rectangle that I do that. So it does take a week worth of train rides to write a script or two right there. That's right in there. Okay. So thank you very much for watching this interview with Ben Levin. Please check out his channel. Also all of his music. He plays with Ben his own group, Ben Levin Group, Justice Cow, That One-Eyed Kid, Mr. Gavin's Meat Farm. What are some of the other ones? Doing great. That's amazing. There's a lot of Genny Skendo's shakuhachi music. It's Astronauts of Albania is the name, but yeah. So Ben plays with a lot of bands. He's based in Boston, but he goes everywhere. He also runs an awesome channel. Yeah, thank you for watching this. Comment, like, and subscribe. We're talking about that. Really, comment, like, and subscribe. You really should comment, like, and subscribe. Comment, like, and subscribe. It's called a call to action. Yeah, it's called let's get out of student loan debt. Yeah, so do that. If you comment, we don't have to pay student loans. Yeah, because the YouTube says, this is valuable to us. Let's give them like $5 a month for what we're doing. You get $5 a month. That's pretty good. All right. Well, we just divulged insider information. I've never gotten a payout. I haven't reached 100 yet ever. That's funny. Anyway. All right. Bye.